I'm going to start from my 100-year legacy plan, okay? And I created sort of this map around what that would look like. And I broke it down into directions. This is the east, south, west, north. Right now, this time in my life where my 20 years are happening, this is the east. And this is the time for me of a lot of career and activism, me being in my world service, me being in the public, collaborating, building my businesses, launching them. This is starting right now. And all of this is stemming from starting an empowerment movement and me becoming an influential role model in the world. Now, as I began to build my 100-year game plan, I started first by pinpointing really significant transitions that are going to happen in my life. Like, I also know within this 20 years, I'm going to lose a bunch of my family members, right? A lot of my family, like my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, they're going to die. And so I know that I'm going to lose them. And this influences how I shape my life by grounding in transitions that are going to happen. So here's some other stuff, okay? So in my 20 years, I'm going to lose a lot of my family. My 4-year-old is going to turn 20, and she'll be off in her world by the time I get in my 50s. And when I'm around 56 years old, after my little girl graduates and leaves the house, I'll be able to move closer to my family, my mom and dad, because they're going to be really old. And so within this 20-year game of me focusing on my career and my activism, I also focus on spending time with the people that I love and how that's going to shape my energy. So I'm going to be going inward and spending a lot of time with my mom and my dad. I also know that every 30 so years, a Saturn return happens. So pretty much right at the tail end of 20 years, I'm going to be hitting that Saturn return. And in between my 60s and 70s, that's when I'm going to lose my mom and dad. They're going to leave the planet. So that's an also really huge, significant part of how that shapes how my 100-year legacy goes. Once they leave the planet, you know, I know that I'm going to pull away from the public, and this is going to be some really good quality time I spend with my partner here, because we won't have anybody to take care of, and we're going to travel. We're also going to be in our 70s, so we're going to spend a lot of time while the world is doing its thing, from being inspired by all the stuff I did when I was young. And that plays out all the way through my 80s and 90s, and I envision myself giving money, philanthropy, traveling with Patrick, and working with young children internationally, kind of like being their grandmother. And then bam, I hit another Saturn return in my 90s. This is going to approach a moment where my little girl is going to be 65, and she might start having kids, and I'm going to be losing my partner, my brother, and my sister. They're going to leave the planet. I have a feeling that I'm going to be around for a long time, so this is a really huge, significant part too, as this is all happening in the South. So once I lose Patrick and my brother and sister, I'm going to be moving into 106 years old. By the way, my great-grandparents died at 107 and 103. I begin to move into the West. I'm on my own. It's just me and my daughter. And I see myself going into sort of a spiritual place. I hit my Saturn return again by the time I'm 120, and my daughter will be 90. So I feel like we're going to be coming full circle from me taking care of her little spicy self, then my parents, and spending time with my beloved. All those beloveds are gone from the planet except her, and we're going to live together again. I see myself writing a book, being an elder, going into a deep spiritual practice, all the way up into when I'm 131 years old, moving into the north direction. And I feel like I'm going to live to be 137. This is where I begin to transition into an avatar. So within my 100-year legacy, right? I go from the East, I do all this activism, career building, inspiring. Then I spend time with people who have inspired me through my life. They leave the planet. I spend a lot of quality time of travel and being more softer with my beloved until they leave and enter into a deep spiritual realm of writing book, spending time with nature, learning how to shapeshift and becoming that avatar. So I think if you approach your 100-year legacy in a way where you look at those crucial, critical moments of Saturn return and the people that you're going to lose in your life, I'm not trying to do this as like something to bring you down, but I find that it was really wonderful to include that in there because it's really important for me to hang with the people that I love. They're a huge part of my life as opposed to just thinking about my career. And how my spending my time with my family will reflect out in the world as I'm a role model of taking time to not always be super active and taking the soft time and cultivating creativity and reshaping myself as I shift and change physically, emotionally, my community changes, and even coming back with my daughter again to becoming an avatar. So I think that that's helpful.